Hello everyone and welcome to another class of ancient Indian history. Today we are going to discuss about an important topic called Gupta administration. Administration of Guptas was centralized, and yet on the outskirts of the empire we do see sign of decentralization. Administration was important because it was efficiency of administration which allowed Guptas to rule over a vast geographical area and reach at the apex of their administrative rule. So, today we are going to talk about the topic Gupta administration. So, how do we learn all the important and difficult names which are associated with the administration? For your understanding, it is easier to make a table. If you talk about Gupta administration, it is divided into three wings. The first wing is central administration. The second is provincial administration. And the final is the village administration. So, when we talk about central administration, obviously the king was the head of all department. The central administration itself was divided into various departments, and each department was under a particular minister. Some features of this administration is that, an important fact, that in central administration we do not find the law of primogeniture being followed sternly. It meant that the eldest son not always inherited the throne. It could have been the youngest son as well. And also in the central administration, one of the important officer was Purohita. Now, let us talk about all the ministers who actually governed the central administration. Obviously, at the head we had king. Then to support him we had Kumar Matyas. Who were Kumar Matyas? They were basically ministers. Now, there were various departments headed by each minister. Some of the important ministers were Mahasenapati. He was head of army. Then Mahadandanayak. He was head of judiciary, and sometimes we also see him taking the role of military commander. Then we had Dandapashik. He headed the police department. Then we come to read about Gopa. He kept the record of the revenue. And finally, Pushtapala. He assisted Gopa, so he can also be seen as assistant of Gopa. Then along with them we also had Purohita, who was the chief priest. Now, role of Purohita was very important because if we look at the administration, king took the role of divinity. King in itself associated themselves with divinity, and this was done by Purohita by including the name of Gupta king in Puranas, by associating them with the heroic clans of Pandavas, Yadavas, Ishwakus, so that the king himself looks like a divine being. So, this was important, and Purohita's role was also important. Now, let us talk about provincial administration. Now, the provinces were basically called bhuktis. So, when we talk about provinces, the whole empire was divided into various units called provinces, which were called bhuktis. Bhuktis were headed by Uparika Maharaj. Provinces were further divided into districts called Vishaya. Now, Vishaya were basically districts. And these Vishayas were actually headed by Vishayapati. Now, let us talk about villages. The districts further were divided into villages and cities. So, now let us talk about these villages. So, districts had cities as well as villages. Now, when we talk about cities, in some Gupta inscription, we have found that cities were also governed by guilds called Nigama. They not only looked into the governing or administration of cities, but they also issued their own seal. Now, Nigama are basically municipal corporation. When we talk about villages, villages were called Grama, and they were headed by Gramini. The Graminis were also assisted by village elders. The elders who assisted the Gramini were called Mahataras. So, this is basically the administration of the core area. There is central administration, provincial administration, which further has districts, and then there is village administration and city administration. But when we talk about administration, Gupta Empire had another common component called Samanta system. Now, let us talk about Samanta system. Now, if you see Kautilya's Arthashastra, Kautilya gives the name Samanta to the neighbouring states. But by the time we come to Gupta period, Samantas were no more neighbouring states, they were not equal to the emperor. They were subjugated but reinstated kings. So, who are Samantas? Samantas are subjugated but reinstated king. And what were their connection with the Gupta Empire? Well, now these Samantas had to promise their loyalty to the Gupta Empire. They had to personally attend the court of the Gupta Empire. In the time of crisis, they would offer their army, but at the same time, they would also become a protectorate of Gupta Empire, which means Gupta Empire will give them protection so that no other state can come and attack them. And at the same time, these vassal states tried to encourage matrimonial ties with the Gupta Empire. Annually, they were supposed to pay a certain revenue to the Gupta Emperor. But at the same time, these subjugated states enjoyed a huge amount of autonomy, in the sense they were free to make laws for their land, they were free to tax the people as per their will, they were free to make different unit or division within their kingdom. So, this way subjugated king were basically they enjoyed large amount of autonomy. Now, let me just make a bracket so that you can understand what I am writing. So, they enjoyed large amount of autonomy in lieu for their loyalty, to the Guptas. Now, these autonomous kingdom, though they were subjugated, but they had the freedom to administer their own land according to their own rules and codes, and did not have to follow the central administrative structure that Guptas usually propagated or practiced. Now, why did Guptas allow Samanta system? Because many historians believe that the Samanta system later on resulted in feudalism. Now, Guptas encouraged Samanta system, one, historians believe, because there was lack of money flow. To give salary in cash. As such, if you reinstated the king on the empire, you do not have to give them any cash or any salary, yet they would remain loyal to you and they would offer their services to you at the time of need. Second important reason why Samanta system flourished is because it was seen as a matter of honor to have large Samanta Chakra. Samanta Chakra. Samanta Chakra. So, now Samanta system also developed not only because of subjugation of certain king and then reinstating them on the throne as your loyal vassal king. It also became very famous because of Brahmodaya land grant, Agrahara land grant, Devodaya land grant. So, let us talk about these land grants. Brahmodaya land grants given to the Brahmins. Devodaya land grants given to non-Brahmins, but they were basically poets or they were artisans who were very talented in the court. And then Agrahara land grants. Agrahara were basically the land grants given by Gupta empire to or Gupta emperor to a person on perpetuity. That was not only land grant, it was not only a gift of land, but the Brahmins also received certain administrative and judiciary power. They received the power, first of all, they received the power to inherit the land. Means a Brahman who got the land grant, he was allowed to give away the same land to his son. Second, they were allowed to tax the farmers who were going to cultivate that land. So, they also received the revenue power. Third, they were given the right to adjudicate certain cases and give punishment to certain criminals if that was a common crime. So, Brahmins also received the power to become the judge for such crimes. So, in that way they got administrative power, revenue power, and they also got the judicial power. These Brahmanas or these people who got Agrahara land grant later on called themselves Rajukas, and that led to feudal structure in Indian society. And if you see in future, Samanta system will become one of the result why Gupta empire itself declined. Now, one thing you have to remember, these Rajukas became very powerful later on, as we see Vardhanas of Thaneshwar, who were later on become create their own empire. There were Mokharis, and then there were Matrikas, then there were Chandras of Bengal, who were actually Samantas of Gupta, who later on became powerful dynasties because they gained more and more control over the land. In Agrahara land grant, forced labor was also allowed. So, this resulted in a more exploitative feudal structure of Samanta system. So, this is all about administration of Gupta Empire. Hope this class was helpful.